Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
COVID-19 is affecting staff and students on and off campus.
So we've separated all the different lab groups so that there's only one group on campus at a specific time.
All new upcoming delays to the LRT transit lines.
There may be some very minor service disruptions during the testing and commissioning process, several years down the road, but in general, the impacts will be quite minimal to NAIT.
And Edmonton's International Film Festival is back in person and in the comfort of your home.
We're really encouraging people to buy their tickets ahead of time so they have their seats guaranteed.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. As NAIT students wind down their fourth week of studies, there's a surprising amount of optimism on the physical and virtual campus.
Students and staff alike are gladly embracing the online studies, and while business certainly isn't usual on campus, there's a lot more optimism than initially expected. Here's Adam Sarenk with more.
Yeah, guys, I talked to several students and staff from NAIT, and it was amazing the overwhelming confidence that was being extruded from the online and in-person classes. It's safe to say that people are more thankful now to be in a classroom than ever before.
It's lunch hour at NAIT. Typically, students would fill these common spaces, socializing, eating, studying. But in 2020, with COVID-19 still holding its head high, students are enjoying less time in these areas and enjoying what time they do get in the classroom.
So we've separated all the different lab groups so that there's only one group on campus at a specific time, which we believe keeps everybody safer, the numbers are down.
A rotating door of classes on campus has left many students impressed with how their education is being handled in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic.
NAIT's the polytechnic. You've got to use your hands. You got to have that hand-using experience, and now it's nice to get back in there.
Some students at NAIT, however, have been excluded from in-person classes entirely. First-year digital media student Jamie Johnner has been enjoying her program, but she wishes she could have more face-to-face interactions with her instructors and classmates.
I'd love to be in school. Like, honestly, it'd be so much, I think it'd be a lot more engaging, a lot more fun. A lot less lonely too, because I know some of the kids, but I've never met any of them.
NAIT announced on Thursday that the upcoming winter semester will also be taking place virtually, with some in-class participation again playing a role. So when will these now empty hallways see hordes of students barreling through their wings? Only time will tell.
With an unpredictable future ahead, it's integral that NAIT provides the high quality of education that it's known for. But by the sound of things, there isn't too much to worry about.
Did you talk to students from any other post-secondary schools? How are they handling the pandemic?
I talked to several MacEwan students, Tate, and surprisingly, in contrast to NAIT students, they were quite miserable. There wasn't a lot of optimism. They said they spent a lot of time staring at the computer screen. No Skype calls, no WebExes, just text to eyes. That's it.
When can we expect students at NAIT to be back back full time?
It's really tough to say. This is such an unpredictable sort of series of events, and with schools being so compact already with students, it's tough to say when and if NAIT will see students in their doors in 2021.
Thanks, Adam. That's our Adam Sarenk reporting live from the News Center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
A new University of Calgary study is investigating the impact of COVID-19 on student mental health. Using an online survey that requires parental consent, researchers are gathering data from adolescents aged 12 to 18. The study aims to provide information so that schools can be better equipped to handle mental health struggles.
I think it's new territory. So as we move forward and more research comes and more experience on the school end comes, I think they're adjusting as we go and trying to adopt to the needs of the students.
Parents who are interested in the survey can find it on the University of Calgary's website or email parents@ucalgary.ca.
Since the start of the pandemic here in Edmonton, sexual assault cases have been on a rise. Pre-pandemic, on average, calls to the sexual assault clinic have increased by 44% over the last 6 months. The biggest increase was in July with 66% increase.
When people are processing trauma or internalizing trauma or dealing with trauma, any little exterior influence that's negative or troubling, that just piles on.
Currently, the wait list is 8 months long due to the increase of cases. Counseling available both in person and online. The center always is available for the crisis support and encourages you to call them if you're in need of their support.
Several construction projects are in the works for Edmonton's LRT lines, including a renovation to NAIT Station. The work will affect LRT schedules from October to late November, causing the Capital and Metro lines to run every 15 minutes. The Metro line train will also run between Century Park and NAIT Station.
There may be some very minor service disruptions during the testing and commissioning process, several years down the road, but in general, the impacts will be quite minimal to NAIT.
NAIT will see further changes too, as future construction will alter the station so that 5-cart trains can be used, creating more space for more students.
We have good news from Mother Nature for Thanksgiving next weekend.
That's right, Edmonton's forecast is expecting snow-free weather this month, and our Karen Park has more.
Thanks, guys. The fall weather in Edmonton usually means snowfall, but this year we're experiencing the warmest first week of October in decades.
Temperatures near 20, we probably get the end of those by the early part of next week. It looks like we'll be around 20 into Monday, Tuesday, and then kind of cools off back to about 14 or 15 towards the end of next week. That's still warmer than average.
Josh Clausen, the chief meteorologist at CTV Edmonton, explains that this is unusually warm, especially in recent history.
You'll get 1 or 2 warm days here in October very often, but to have a nice string here where all of September and what looks to be the first half of October is above average, that doesn't happen very often.
This unusual weather has altered some people's seasonal purchasing habits in Edmonton. Andrew Phillips, the owner of a local bike shop, says more people are looking for bikes to enjoy the outdoor activities this fall.
Because it's been so nice out. So we are unusually busy for kind of the fall time. And a lot of that is like we've got a lot more service than usual and a lot more people buying bikes than usual.
Andrew also says the demand for bikes are so high that they are expecting delays in manufacturing.
Just to give you an idea, we ordered stuff about a month ago, and some products will receive, some of those products we'll receive in March. Some of those products we won't receive until next July.
The forecast shows we can enjoy the above average temperature until Thanksgiving long weekend. After that, we will return to average fall weather and light snowfall in the end of this month. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Karen. That's our very own Karen Park reporting.
In this week's student body, Mia Hildebrandt tells us about the dangers of sitting for too long.
With COVID-19 keeping most of us at our desks all day, it's important to make time to stay active and move throughout the day.
For Callie Karsgaard, moving to online learning was a big change, but an even bigger one might be the lack of movement in her daily life.
Really tough to stay focused all the time. I'm sitting at my laptop for like 6 to 8 hours every single day.
Physiotherapist Elizabeth Schellenberg says that sitting raises your risk for things like obesity, stroke, and heart problems down the road, but it can also cause a lot of joint pain.
Sitting can increase your neck pain. It can give you low back pain. It can give you hip pain, knee pain, kind of any joint pain.
Schellenberg says that the importance of making time to be active during the day isn't just limited to people who are now spending more time online, but it should be something everyone is doing.
I think it makes sense for all of us, students, middle-aged, older people alike, to break up long periods of sitting to move and flex your muscles.
I try and just get out of this room, and I try and go down to the kitchen and maybe make myself some lunch or distract myself in some way. I'll watch Netflix or I'll go for a walk with my dog.
Elizabeth Schellenberg suggests we take 5-minute breaks every half an hour. Whether it means you set a timer on your phone to remind yourself to go for a walk, next time you take a phone call, you take it standing up, or you use an exercise ball at your desk. It's important as students to prioritize our physical health while learning online this year. Mia Hildebrandt, NAIT NewsWatch, Winnipeg.
With COVID-19, High River's International Balloon Festival was once facing uncertainty. Last weekend, however, one thing was up in the air. The Heritage Inn Balloon Festival is a 5-day phenomenon that attracts hundreds to High River. 2020 marks the 8th consecutive year the festival has gone ahead. And though it looked a little different without the international pilots, 17 Canadian balloons were able to hit the sky.
You know, it was really important that we were able to make this happen. Our pilots really wanted to be there. We want to fly.
Still, some things are out of the festival's control. Both of high winds, 8 of 10 planned launches had to be canceled. And though disappointing, some may say it takes moments like this, a little bit more special.
Coming up after the break, a previous NAIT graduate turned the skills she learned into a business.
We speak to Shauna Bannerman, on the owner of Everpressed Jewelry.
With golf season coming to a close, NAIT sports teams await the fate of their seasons in a couple of weeks. Join me for more after the break.
Cindy Mayer for NAIT NewsWatch Weather. Coming up after the break, we're going to explore how the temperatures this weekend might be surprising, but it might even be a good surprise.
It sounds like we've got a few more weeks of sunshine in October, meaning that I can actually leave my house.
Yeah, and I could actually keep taking my dog out for walks. I really hate putting those booties on them in the winter.
You know, guys, it's going to be a wonderful dog walking weather weekend. In Calgary, we have a high of 20 and a low of 7 with a 30% chance of precipitation. Then moving on to Jasper, we have a high of 22 and a low of 4 with almost no % chance of rain. Then moving on to Fort McMurray, we have a high of 16 and a low of 2 degrees with, again, almost no chance of rain. And then moving on to our Edmonton weather, we have a high of 20 and a low of 6. It's going to be some beautiful weather above average temperatures because our average temperatures for the year are 14 degrees high and 3 degrees low. And our record temperatures are 27 degrees and -8. The weather is going to be beautiful. Great time for you to go out and get some pictures of the beautiful fall changing leaves.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
A NAIT graduate is using her jewelry business to help youth build connections in our community. Carly Mickenuk has the story.
I'm somebody who likes jewelry that stands out.
Everpressed is a local jewelry business owned by Shauna Bannerman, a 2018 NAIT grad of the graphic design program. Each piece of jewelry is made by hand in Shauna's home office and is made of things from nature like flowers, rocks, butterfly wings, and even bees. Shauna finds her inspiration for her work by spending time outdoors and being in nature.
Nature's amazing. There's even just basic leaves. When you really look closely, there's so much detail and pattern, and the possibilities are endless, really.
Since last year, Shauna has been donating 10% of the money she makes to the Trinity Youth Project in Edmonton, which aims to help marginalized youth build connection.
And having those pro-social people that are kind of cheering them on and helping them continue to move forward. Even if we can address the other things, if they don't have that social connection piece,
the rest is going to kind of fall apart.
Shauna's passion is to create jewelry that makes people feel pretty and was inspired by the Trinity Youth Project to help in more ways.
And I really wanted to contribute to something in the community in some way. So yeah, I'm happy to contribute to them.
Everprest has recently grown from a one-woman army as Shauna has hired her first employee to help with her ever-growing business. Carly McKennock, NAIT NewsWatch.
The Stanley Cup playoffs have officially come to a close and the NBA is soon to follow suit.
But one NAIT team is still practicing away. Let's go to Tyler Smith with more.
It's a season of uncertainty for many college athletes in a year that no one anticipated, as there are still many unknowns in the ACAC sports world. With many NAIT teams sidelined, the NAIT men's hockey team is gearing up for whichever decision may come. The NAIT men's hockey team is back to full practices in hopes of a positive decision come middle of October. Being one of NAIT's most prolific programs with 16 ACAC championships, new bench boss Coach Felnermeyer is making sure his players will be physically ready to start the possible season.
I think basically he really wants us to just kind of approach it like you would any other season and still show up to practice and still do your workouts and everything like that and take it seriously, because at the end of the day, we still could be playing a season coming up. We don't really know when.
Although a possible season has players' hopes high, rules will be put in place with arena spectators maxing out at 100 and masks are required upon entry into the building. These rules will continue to be enforced all around NAIT's campus. 9 NAIT teams are currently on standby, with some practicing and others holding off. One NAIT basketball athlete is reaching new heights in his career and life goals. With the fall season being up in the air and not guaranteed for the players or coaches, David Udo has more.
Sean Clancy was arguably the most skilled player on the NAIT men's basketball team last year, winning the ACAC North Player of the Year award, the CCAA All-Canadian, while averaging 26.6 points per game. Making the decision to move from the States to Canada to play basketball proved to be a success.
For my first time being out of the country, being out of the States and playing ball, definitely a good experience and a wonderful time while I was up there.
It is still very unclear if the season will reopen for NAIT or any other college teams looking to play this year.
So we're practicing right now. We started practicing after Labor Day. We're in the gym 3 days a week right now. A couple times a week we're doing off-court stuff, just conditioning like after practice. And
due to the unforeseen COVID-19 pandemic, Sean's plans for the summer came to a halt.
COVID put a stop to my whole summer. Just off of the season playing in NAIT, I had multiple people like reaching out to me.
Sean Clancy had a breathtaking individual run for NAIT last year. What he planned to do in the future was cut short by the COVID-19 pandemic, but his plans are still very much in sight. As for the NAIT team, they're hoping for a season restart this season and to chase that ACAC championship. I'm David Udo, NAIT NewsWatch Calgary.
Another playoffs has come and went, even though this particular year may contain a forever asterisk beside it.
One of those things, where it's so cool they were able to pull it off, and I was skeptical that this would ever happen, so I don't want to complain too much, but...
With 0 positive cases from almost 35,000 tests inside the bubble, the NHL certainly won't have much to complain about either.
The playoffs are part of what makes it great. Is there's so much excitement around the games. The buildings are going. Speaking with the guys, it was a little different this year.
Managing risks, adhering to protocols, and following medical advice were the ultimate keys to a successful NHL bubble, which crowned the Tampa Bay Lightning the 2020 Stanley Cup champions. As the season of COVID golf comes to a close, golf courses were right where they needed to be as a thriving industry throughout the summer of the pandemic. Oh, that was too. Even with golf courses getting the go-ahead, new restrictions and rules were put in place. These included golfers prohibited from touching the pin or raking the sand traps to avoid any sort of transmission during play.
When you're in the pandemic, you're worried about
how are your staff, your department heads, and everybody downwards is going to handle every scenario, and especially with COVID, I found everybody's got a different level of comfort.
Different comfort zones led to many different answers and outcomes. But for James and the Leduc Golf Course, overall profit numbers were even more successful than previous seasons. After a very different, or now that golf and summer sports are slowly ending, winter and snow is on the horizon, and that means gearing up for another season of snow sports. After a very successful skateboarding season, Rumor Board Shop is ready to take on the winter snowboarding season amid the pandemic. Complications around other winter sports, including hockey, volleyball, and basketball leagues, has drawn new interest in skiing and snowboarding for the Edmonton area.
But I'm excited to, as everyone is, to get outside during the winter time. I feel like that's going to be a big deal, is like, how do we get outside like everyone did in the summertime, but do it in the winter? So
really anticipating a lot of more new customers, and even the more frequent customers coming in and upgrading all their stuff.
A fast approaching season is promising for Rumor and ski hills in the area.
Well, I know I'm pretty excited to get on the slopes and snowboard this year. Tyler, do you snowboard or ski at all?
Well, growing up playing hockey, I didn't have a ton of time, but now that I got into it, I'm pretty fired up for the season. Tate, you're from Okotoks. You're right by the mountains. What about you?
I gotta say, my dad was super into it when he was young, and he tried to push it on me, but I never accepted it. Just another way in which I disappointed him.
Coming up next, coming after the break, Edmonton Food Bank is getting ready for Thanksgiving.
We visited their warehouse to see how the charity is operating during the pandemic.
I'm Chelsea McKay, and for entertainment this week, Edmonton is back and scarier than ever. Stay tuned after the break to find out what else is happening.